Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are. Hello, my name is Harlem Mama, and I am going to tell you about a book I read. And I'm currently reading, but it's so good, I just couldn't wait until the end to share it, just because I hope other people will be reading along with me. It's called By Love Possessed by Lorna Goodson. She is a Jamaican author. I'm going to pull it up now. Let's see if I can open it. By Love Possessed by Lorna Goodson. Now, why I like this book. She's a Jamaican woman who is known for her poetry, her short stories, all kinds of things. She's very multi-talented, and she has been awarded many medals and prizes for her work. She is a Jamaican author who is a prize and treasure for the island. And I came across her listening to another Jamaican writer speak of her. So I said, why don't I pick her up and read and see what it's about? So I'm reading By Love Possessed, and it's really a good book. It delves into romantic stories, but not necessarily romantic. It's more a life story, life short stories, a glimpse of time into people's love or attempt at love. And you have all types of characters, but the theme is almost unrequited love. And I haven't finished it. Maybe there will be some happier endings for some of the characters. Some just need a little. Some of the characters, they're really well written. Some of them just need a different society to find their love. She points out the caste system, the dominance of British culture over Jamaican culture, how the prevalence of a caste system has just made it so difficult for people to find love. There are some stories that remind me that, sometimes Jamaicans, we can be a very superficial set of people. And it's based on what's outside and not what's inside. And this is set in mid-century, 1950s, 60s, 70s, I think. And it really is a generation of people coming of age during a time of political upheaval, when they were and going towards, they were debating and having different parties more centered on democracy and more centered on communism, and they were clashing, and the folks were clashing ideas. And in the end, a socialist system came about that was a democratic system for Jamaica. But the lines were drawn, And she brings up in the background these young people, or sometimes, I mean, it's actually very diverse, not just young people, um, just people trying to find their way and find love, and what they would do for that, like the sacrifices they would make, or what they expected just because they were beautiful or rich, or what they strive for and they came from humble beginnings. And it it speaks to a different type of feminism that happens in Jamaica. Uh, the women are strong. They can not only take care of themselves, they can take care of the children and the man. And there's this idea of this invincible woman. And we see that that's not the case. There's so many women who really need love, and or at least respect, and how hard it is to come by when society is telling you how to behave, what color you should be. And in Jamaica, colorism is a very big deal, and only until recently women of all colors have been accepted. But it is a tragedy in Jamaica that so many women have been marginalized because of their skin color. And I think that she proves the point that it's a complex system there, based on trying to rid themselves of the pressures and structure of the monarchy, and how oppressive it is on the people, and how unfair it is to all people of color. And these are just background. The stories of love are front ground, are right there in your heart. There's a story of a young artist who works for very rich clients, and she's a freelancer. And a very rich guy that she'd worked on his projects, and he felt as if he could just control her. And as she saw how he treated the staff and how he was abusive to everyone around him, and he just expected her to be there for him and become his woman, and she said, "You know what? No, I'm not going to do that. That's not me." She wanted her freedom and she wanted her respect, and she didn't want to be abused. And it was a beautiful story because we saw that bravery of her standing up to him and being herself. She was free. She sang loudly. She wore what she wanted, and she was free. And he didn't understand that. He kept trying to get to her, but she knew that she'd rather be poor in her little home that he insulted and just be herself, be an artist. And it's a simple story, but you see the dynamics of the workers and the gentleman, and you see the woman defending her right to be poor and an artist and just working from job to job, freelancing. And it was telling. There were so many beautiful stories, and I've only touched the beginning. So I highly recommend this book to you, and I hope you'll take it up. I'm also reading The Compassionate Classroom. I actually have copies of those. I'm reading The Compassionate Classroom. As I homeschool or virtual school with my daughter's school, I am taking up techniques to keep calm in the home and keep peace between us, so I'm not yelling at her while she's doing her work, to do her work, to get it done, so I can have a compassionate child, that I am compassionate with her and she's compassionate with me. And that is how I'm going to go through our next semester. I'm going to be reading that. I'm also reading Parenting for Liberation, a guide for raising Black children. This is an excellent book by Trina Green Brown, and The Compassionate Classroom is by Sura Hart and Victoria Kendall Hodson. And Trina just came out with this book. She's been doing a podcast called Parenting for Liberation. And you can find it anywhere. And this is just a book, and it's also a workbook that you can work through situations and ways to build a better relationship with your child, and how to not deal with your child in anger, and sort of get rid of some of those oppressive feelings we have inherited due to our circumstances in this country. We've learned to be, and all around, the slave mentality goes far, far back. And that is the beating, the making children be little soldiers, marching in line, disciplined, quiet, not accepting them as they are, wild, free beings. And that's what we not wild, but you know what I mean. A child deserves the freedom to be a child, and to jump and play and think and create. And my goal is to read this and learn better techniques so I have 2 girls, and I plan on just implementing these books in our lives a little more this semester. And I recommend that to you too. We're all dealing with children at home. Many of us are dealing with children at home, and we have to learn coping skills. It is a challenging feat. Behind me, I've set up a desk for my daughter, my youngest, who will need supervision while I'm working at my desk. And so while she's working, I'm working. And we can come to some understanding and semblance of peace and productivity. So those are what I'm reading right now, and I hope you find interest in it. And if you have any questions, leave comments. And this is my first one, so please be patient with me. And I will have other subjects down the line. Thank you.